In the last video, you learned about polymorphism. Polymorphism allows you to create a class and include members in the class that will act differently. You learned that by changing the behavior of your code using the virtual and override keywords, you could get the print methods in your base class and the print methods in your derived classes to print at the same time. In this lesson, we will look at another example of polymorphism. In this example, we will print methods without using the virtual and override keywords. In other words, you are going to learn how to print from derived classes without having a base class implementation. So how do you print from only derived classes and not from the base class? You do so by using something called an abstract class. An abstract class is similar to a regular class, except it cannot be instantiated. If you try to instantiate an abstract class, you will get a compile error. Abstract classes are used as base classes, so they can be derived from. In other words, you can create derived classes from an abstract class. Let me show you how to create an abstract class. I'm in my auto class now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to include the abstract keyword right in front of class. So let me type abstract. So now I have an abstract class. What I want to do now is I want to include an abstract method within my abstract class. An important thing I want you to know is that you are not required to include an abstract method in an abstract class. You can include a regular method, and in this example, we will include both an abstract and a regular method. Now I want to create my abstract method, and the first thing I need to do is I need to delete this virtual keyword. So make sure you delete it because we don't need this. So our method should look like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the abstract keyword between public and void. And another important thing you need to know is that you cannot define the definition of an abstract method. What this means is that abstract methods do not contain a code block. So I'm going to comment out this code block. Next, I'm going to go to my truck class and add a new print method. So I'm going to go right down here. I'm going to add public override void print. And when I press enter, it automatically set my code within the code block, but this is not what I want. So I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to include console.writeLine. This is my truck class. You need to include the override keyword when deriving from an abstract class. Otherwise, you will get an error message. And let me go to my car class and add a print method there too. So I'm going to add public. I'm going to remember to include the override keyword because remember, abstract classes require an override keyword on derived classes, at least on the methods of derived classes, okay? Then I'm going to include void, then print. Then I'm going to delete this here, and within the code block, I'm going to include console.writeLine. This is my car class. Now each of our classes has a print method. We want to call the print method of only the truck and car class. Let's go to program.cs and comment this out right here. And I'm going to change the number of elements to 2. Let's run this program and make sure it works. It looks like we have an error here. In this box here it says, there were build errors. Would you like to continue and run the last successful build? I'm going to select no. And when I select no, I have this error list that populates at the bottom. And it says something about a semicolon expected. Looks like in my auto.cs class. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close out of this. And I'm going to go to auto.cs. And when I look over here at my abstract method, I see that I have that little red squiggly line. And it looks like I need to include a semicolon here at the end. So when I do that, the red squiggly line is gone. Now this looks good here, so I'm going to go back to program.cs. Everything here looks good. I'm going to click on start and run this program. And there you go. We were able to metamorphically call the print methods for both the truck and car classes. The abstract print method in the auto class did not print out. How about if you wanted to print the methods in your abstract class? How would you go about that? What you would do is inherit from the auto class by typing a colon after program followed by auto. So let's type public. Then instead of abstract, I'm going to type override, followed by void, then print. Then I'm going to include my curly braces and console.writeLine. This is my first print method in the auto class. So now I've defined my method with this code block. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the auto class and add a method there too. I'm going to add public void, and I'm going to make this print2. Then I'm going to add my code block to define my method. And I'm going to add console.writeLine. This is my second print method in the auto class. If I click on start, you see that nothing has happened. I'm still printing out the methods from before. And the reason why the two new methods I added, the one I added to the program.cs and the one that I added to auto haven't printed out, is because I haven't instantiated the program class. So let me close out of this, and I'm going to go back to the program class, and I'm going to go to the bottom here. And I'm going to instantiate my program class. So I'm going to type program P equals new program. Then let's call the print and print2 methods. So I'm going to type p.print. And then I'm going to go to the next line and I'm going to type p.print2. Now let's run this program. And you can see both the print and print2 methods on your console screen. There are a few important things you need to know about abstract classes. Abstract classes cannot be sealed. So what does this mean? When a class is declared sealed, it cannot be instantiated. Let me show you what a sealed class looks like. To seal this class, you include the sealed keyword between abstract and void. As soon as I finish typing sealed, you notice I have a red squiggly line underneath print. And when I hover over print, it says auto.print cannot be sealed because it is not an override. So we need to remove the sealed keyword so that the error disappears. The next important thing you need to know about abstract classes is that they cannot contain private abstract methods. Let me show you. So I'm going to change this here from public to private. And you can see that we have an error message and it says auto.print virtual or abstract members cannot be private. So this will not work. So let me change this back to public. Another thing you need to know about abstract classes is that they cannot contain abstract methods that include the virtual keyword. If I include virtual between abstract and void, you see that once again I get an error. And when I hover over the error, it says the abstract method auto.print cannot be marked virtual. This will also not work, so I'm going to delete the virtual keyword. Lastly, abstract classes cannot contain any static methods. When I include the static keyword between abstract and void, you see that once again I get an error message, and this time the error says a static member auto.print cannot be marked as override, virtual, or abstract. So this will not work either. So let me just get rid of this. In this lesson, you learned about polymorphism via abstract classes. You learned that by using an abstract class, you can call the print methods of your derived classes without having to call the base class's print method. In this lesson, you also worked with abstract classes. You learned that an abstract class cannot be instantiated. You also learned that abstract classes are used as base classes so you can create derived classes from them. I also told you that you are not required to include an abstract method in an abstract class. You also learned that abstract methods cannot be defined. That means they do not contain a code block. Another thing you learned to do in this lesson is how to print methods from your abstract class. You learn to do this by going to your program class and inheriting from the auto base class, then typing your method from the abstract class directly below the program class. You then had to instantiate the program class and you were able to print out the abstract class's methods. And finally, you learned that abstract classes cannot include sealed, private, static, or virtual methods.